Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at this new little RC helicopter by DEERC. I've been reviewing quite a bit of DEERC stuff lately, and they seem to make some pretty good stuff that you can pick up on Amazon. And they asked me to review this helicopter, and I thought, well heck, why not? These helicopters are pretty darn popular, and this one looks pretty neat. This is a DE52, again by DEERC. It's the ages 14 and up. Has altitude hold, 1 key start and landing, and it has 2 speed modes on it. And they do put the controls here on the side of the box, and we'll go over the controller here in a moment. So let's take a look at the helicopter. Now this comes with 2 of these canopies, so you can swap it out, and I'll show you that it comes with a spare, and it also comes with 2 of the LiPo batteries. I already have one of them inserted in here, but when you get it, it actually is here. I got this one charged for the flight review, so I got it in the helicopter so I don't get them confused and actually accidentally try to fly with the dead battery. So let's just pull this out. Now this foam insert I'm going to pull out and I'll show you what's below it, but you can see this comes in a nice sort of soft carrying case, and this would be really great if a kid's got this and they want to take it to grandparents' house or something. You can put everything in here and away you go, and you don't have to worry about them losing parts and damaging anything. So yeah, it's a nice little added feature that they include with this helicopter. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the foam insert. Now the battery kind of sticks down into the bottom there, as you can see, the spare battery. And here is that spare canopy and the controller, and again the spare battery. Let's take a look at the battery. These are, and hopefully this will show up in the camera, I am only recording at 1080p today, so it's going to be a little bit less resolution. But this is a 550 milliamp hour. I'll try to get this to focus in. We should be able to see it. That is a 1-cell 3.7 volt LiPo battery. So what that does is it slides in here, and then you just pull this out. I think it goes that way. It's this way. You push and it slides in there in the bottom, and these 3 little prongs will snap into the bottom of the battery, and away you go. And you have an on and off switch here, and there's a 1 little white LED that flashes on the front of the helicopter. This is a flybar helicopter, so this is to help balance and keep the rotors all balanced when you pitch forward and such, which is very, very common on these beginning helicopters, the beginner ones. It's easier to fly these, doesn't require the servos to tilt and pitch the rotors with the helicopter, so it can just fly with using this fly bar, and it's a much easier, keeps the cost down as well on one of these. And of course you got your little rotor here in the back. I think that's to help with the yaw, of the helicopter, I believe. I'm not an expert on helicopters, but yeah, everything you expect on one of these little helicopters. And let's see, let's take a look at the controller and the controls. I got the instruction manual already out, is what I was going to say, and I'm going to go over the controls with you guys. They're not labeled, but the box has it as well. Here are your spare parts. You've got a full set of extra rotors there, so if you damage them, you can replace them. A Phillips screwdriver for taking the battery compartment off or doing any repairs and removing the blades on the helicopter. And you have a micro USB charger, micro USB for the battery to full USB-A, and on the batteries you have that micro USB port on the side that you have to use. Just be certain you can't use just any old micro USB charger like you use on a phone or something, because that will continue to charge and charge and charge and charge. The battery has no ability to tell the charger to stop charging me, but this has a built-in voltage detection with lights, and it will turn off once the battery is full. So you've got to use this charger. Don't plug it into just any USB charger, or it will charge until the battery's swollen, ruined, or even could start a fire. So kind of unfortunate. That's the way those have to work on these guys. And here is that control. I pulled off when you pull this out, you can pull the little thumb grips on the gimbal sticks here of the controller can actually come off, so keep that in mind. But you just got your up down here on the left, and you got a full motion here on the right. So we'll have to take it up and fly it and see exactly how the controls work. They should be pretty easy to fly, as you'd expect with any helicopter. It just doesn't have your full range of controls like a drone would have, you know, so you have to keep that in mind. So you're going to have your, like on a drone, you got your throttle and yaw and your pitch and roll. You don't have all that control on this particular helicopter. But we'll just look at the box so I don't have to dig to the instruction manual. But those controls, let me just flip the box around here with my other hand. But you've got here, you got your forward, reverse, and then your rotor left and right. And then this is your throttle up and down to just raise the helicopter up and bring it down is all you're doing with this one. This one is going to let you go fly forward, fly back, and then be able to rotate like your yaw. So you don't really have like a roll feature like a drone would have, or maybe a more advanced helicopter like a fly barless or something might have. But yeah, this is just pretty much how you're going to fly it. So you know, you might feel a little bit, you know, reverse to somebody who's used to flying a drone. And then on the top here, you've got you click this one to take off, and then you can click it again to land it. And then this button right here, actually if you hold this one down as well, this will kill the motors and drop it out of the sky. So you know, if you're gonna hit someone's head or fly into something important, kill the motors so you could hurt somebody with these open rotors and blades and hit someone's eye or something. And this is your speed switch, and as we mentioned, there are 2 speeds. Now this looks like an infrared controlled helicopter. In fact, I thought that it was, because when you look at this and you have this little open plastic, lots of times it is colored, but sometimes they just leave them clear. You think there is a set of infrared lights in here, and these helicopters are typically infrared, so they have to be flown indoors, outdoors where sunlight, you know, which means infrared will interfere with them. Anyway, that doesn't matter. This is not an infrared controlled helicopter. They may have a version or decided to repurpose this controller, but if you look in here, you can see, and I think I can see it here in the camera, there's a wire there. And this is a 2.4 gigahertz fully radio function helicopter. So you can fly this outdoors. Now, I, of course, was under the impression, just glancing at this is infrared controlled. So I said, I'm going to fly it indoors. And I still am going to, but I could certainly fly this outdoors with no regards about the sun. But you do probably need to keep in mind the conditions. It's a bit windy today. This helicopter is not going to be able to handle a lot of wind. They usually have very little pitch, and I'm sure that's probably going to be the case with this, even the highest rate. These things will get blown around really easy. But it's 2.4 gigahertz. That's great. I don't know the flight time. Usually these things run, you know, quite a good time, I would expect. And you got 2 batteries if you want to charge both of them up to extend that flight time on this guy. So this ought to be really fun, and it's a little larger than like the little SEMAs and those little ones you can buy lots of times at your local stores. May even have them here. The local Rule Kings carry these SEMAs. They're smaller than this. This is a little bit bigger, so that's pretty nice. You know, it's a little larger helicopter. We'll have to see how this guy flies. I'm curious to see how this does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video and we'll just fly it around here in the basement using the same camera here fixed, and we'll see how he flies inside. And if I feel like I need to, maybe I'll come back with another video outside if I feel like I can't really open it up down here. But these helicopters, again, even though this is not infrared, they still are better to be flown inside for the most part. All right, guys, so I'm going to pause the video and we'll be right back with that flight review. All right, guys, so let's take it up for the flight review. Please disregard the junk in the background. This is a storage area that's next to where I do my YouTube stuff, so it's a bit of disarray, but this ought to be big enough to at least give us an idea how this guy will fly, but obviously it's not a really, really large area. So let's take it up and let's fly it around and see how this guy does. Now, you can see I got it connected so that white light in the nose is solid, not flashing, so we know this bound to the controller. And again, this is not infrared. In case you skip forward to the flight review, I'm doing this more traditional. I'm going to put the flight review at the table review at the beginning. So there is the helicopter right there set on the table, and here is the controller connected. And again, this is radio frequency, and the way we can test that is like if we were just to put my hand over this probably would block the infrared. But if I press up on the controller now, See, we got power to the prop, so we know this again is radio frequency. Enough about that. It looks so much like infrared that you think, oh my God, this is not a radio frequency helicopter. So let's go ahead and we can do a one click, and let's see if this actually takes off. Yeah, it does. Ooh, that's really nice and quiet. I'm gonna get it down. You guys are not gonna see it there. And move it forward. So yeah, your yaw is on your right stick, which feels a little weird for a drone flyer. And then your throttle to go up and down is on your left stick. So again, you have to yaw it and then go forward. You can't just, your instinct if you're a drone flyer is to do this and think it's gonna go right and it's gonna, roll to the right. No, it yaws. So you have to keep that in mind. I'm going to try to keep it in view, guys. So I know right now it probably is not in view. There we go. So let me just move it forward here. Again, I know it's not the biggest space, but this is your lowest rate. So let's just try to... Boy, it is awkward for someone like myself used to flying drones. I can't rely on any roll controls, and it'd be easy to crash this if you were really thinking drone. Let's go up to the higher speed rate, and there's 2 clicks, and now look, the yaw is faster, and it ought to be a little bit sportier. I really like how quiet this is. Some of these helicopters, you got dual rotors like that, they can just be really noisy. This is actually pretty quiet. Now, this would be fun to fly around in a rather open space in the house, or in your garage would be great. Or outside, of course, on a calm day. I don't really feel like I need to trim it too much. It's moving a little bit, but they're going to do that. It's almost got a bit of a toilet bowl going on there, which obviously you get those on drones that are GPS and don't have a good compass calibration. That's how we call it, toilet bowling, if you are not familiar with drones. I'll try to fly it around here. I know I'm not doing much, but again, this is a little bigger than like a SEMA, the little ones, and there's not a ton of room here, and I want to keep it in the field of view, which at times I know I've been out of the field of view, but what can I do? I can wear my head cam, but that can be, image stabilization crops that down if you move a lot, and that's not ideal for filming indoors in a small space. This fixed camera ought to be good enough. I'm getting more used to it now. You just have to keep in mind, if you're a drone flyer, you don't have roll, your yaw is on the right. Going back down to the lowest rate there, you see that yaw. Let's bring it over here in front so you can see the difference in the yaw rate. There is the lowest rate, and there's the highest rate. Lowest rate, highest rate. Let's see if I can see on the... I'm going to go back to lowest. There's your pitch forward. There's your back. Let's go to highest rate. I don't know if there's much difference in the pitch of the helicopter, how much the gyro is letting it go forward. I think it's really mostly just a faster yaw, which you really want so you can spin this helicopter around and make corrections, because you don't have that roll. You've got to redirect it and then go forward. So this would make a nice little helicopter for someone just starting out, and it seems like it's going to be okay to fly outside. But again, with even the highest rate with so little pitch, you're going to have to fly this on a calm day. And today is not an ideal day with the storms in the area to fly this guy around outside anyway, even though, like I said, I thought that it was infrared controlled at first glance. See if we can fly it back a little ways here, and just from where I'm standing behind the camera. Should be able to. You're not going to probably be able to see it too well, guys. That's not too bad. Usually the easiest thing to do when you get something like this out of ways is just reverse it. If you rotate it around, you're going to have some controls are going to swap, even though we don't have roll on this. Let's see if I could just reverse it. I'll try to lower the altitude. Just reverse it, and there we go. The altitude hold works pretty good, though it still is a little touchy. And whenever I give it reverse, you have to be really careful you go straight back. For some reasons I tend, if you're a little off, see, you start just yawing. So you have to be certain you're going straight back with the controller. But yeah, you could fly this out and turn it around. Let's see if we can do that. And fly it at me, just yaw it around, and then just push forward. Simple enough, but it is very slow. Let's see, am I in the highest rate? Yeah, I was in the highest rate. As you can see, it does not make much of a difference on your speed. It is just your yaw. So this, even though, again, like I said, even though this is not infrared and it can be flown outdoors, it is not going to be a great outdoor flyer unless it's calm like these conditions in the house, because look at that, it does not have much pitch. It's not going to be able to fight much wind. It's just too slow, and that's fine for a beginner helicopter. It's not really a criticism, because that's common with these. I've flown a decent amount of these, and that's pretty much how most of them are. So it's better indoors. Just keep in mind, this is a little bit bigger, so you're going to need a little bit bigger area. This is not a gigantic area by any means, but it's not like the worst. But it's still fun to fly it around here and practice. And if I weren't filming a video, I'd be able to focus even more on my flying. I have to fly and focus on what I'm saying to make sure I don't sound like a complete idiot. Let's go ahead and try that landing and see how well that works. I'm going to fly it over here so it's in view. And let's just press that and see if it... Oop, I did the speed rate. Oop, I pressed the wrong bumper. Let's bring it over here and try that landing. And it landed perfect. You guys can't see that because it's just out of the field of view for the camera. But it landed perfect. Maybe we'll try to take that back up again one more time and see if I can land it within the field of view of the camera. And then we'll end this video. Let's see if is that in the field of view so you guys can see it now. No, I need to move it farther out. So let's move it out here. That should be. That'll give us a little bit more room to take off, because when I first took off on the table, I had to throttle it down. It was going to bang into the ceiling. So let's go ahead and do that one key takeoff. I mean, look at that. It still did, even though I was on the ground. So it's sort of programmed for outdoors. But again, I said, like I've mentioned, outdoors is not going to be ideal on this unless it's extremely calm. That's going to limit the number of days you can fly this. You're not going to be able to take this out, at least where I live, in the winter time, and find many days where it's going to be calm enough to be able to fly this in spring too. Maybe a hot summer calm day. You really need to fly this indoors. So let's move it over here and we'll fly it forward, and then we'll land it here and end this video. So you can see, pretty basic, but for what you get, and I think it was around $34 or $5. It's not bad. I would probably still recommend, if you can get one of the little Seaman helicopters, a little sportier. It varies, some are more than others. Our local Rule King will, at Christmas time especially, will sell those little Seamans for 20 bucks, and you can't go wrong. I would recommend that over this. But let's make sure we don't hit the that's what I was afraid was going to happen. I wanted to land and I'm doing too much yippy yapping and talking. Let's back it up. It is getting a good flight time. We're in over 10 minutes into the flight. Let's go ahead and do that land. And it landed perfect. That's great that it doesn't tip over, so there's no chance of damaging those rotors or props when they hit the ground. All right, guys, that wraps up the review of the DEERC DE52, I believe it was. The DEERC, let's grab the box, the DEERC DE52. Hopefully that's showing up. I don't know, I can't see what I'm filming here where I'm standing, but yeah, that wraps it up for this guy. I mean, pretty basic helicopter. Is not very quick. It is pretty slow, as I expected it would be. A lot like the infrared flyers. But the yaw does increase with the rates, which is nice. At least you do have that. But again, even though this is 2.4 gigahertz and you can fly this outside because it's not infrared control, I would not recommend it unless it is absolutely calm, because it is very slow and it is very docile. It's just very it's almost sluggish, but it's not necessarily a bad thing for someone who's just starting out. It's just not going to be good if there's any wind at all. This is going to blow away, and you're going to have to hold down that left bumper and kill the motors so that it falls to the ground, or you're going to lose it. So keep that in mind. Fly this indoors, and if you don't have a lot of room in your house, I would recommend looking for maybe a smaller model like those little Seamas. But otherwise, this one is a pretty good option at a pretty reasonable price, and you get the quick 2-day shipping from Amazon. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you enjoy the content. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section. And while you're at it, click that bell so you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.